Yeah. So key data pages, right? So if you use the, we already worked on parameterized data pages. Okay. So whenever we pass the parameter for the data page, so that will be loaded from the database. Okay. So in order to avoid the multiple hits on the database, so we can go for these key data pages. So key data page will retrieve all the data once, and later we can filter the data from that list instead going to the database. Okay. So in our case, so we have a state details, we have a state drop down, right? And that corresponding database is d underscore state list. So let's go to the d state list. So this keyed pages is allowed only for list data pages. So we have a page structure data page as well as the list data page, right? So this would be applicable only for list data pages.
Okay, I think your page is still on that home page.
Still you see the home page?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Don't you see my this Pega screen?
Yeah, we
Only
can
Pega
see the
screen.
Pega screen, but only that main home page, the Pega Infinity, that screen only we can see that.
Okay, 1 second. Now,
Yeah, now I can.
okay.
Yes,
Yes,
we are
now
able
it's
to see.
visible.
So here, so we defined this already, right? So allow multiple pages per key means, so based on the country codes, if we have like multiple pages, so this is the states data page, right? Like, so there can be multiple states for the country code. Let's say India. For IN country code, there can be one or more states. Okay, so we need to enable this allow multiple pages per key. Okay, and if you want to pass the multiple keys, so we can add that. Okay, so and this has to be referenced from page list property. So we already created a page list property called state details, right? State list. Okay, so copy data from data page, and you need to specify the list data page, and this is the key, right? So key would be country. So in the runtime, whatever the country we pass to the data page, it will retrieve that information. Okay, so this, let me take this screenshot. So first we need to define the key in the data page, and then we need to specify in the page list property. So in the runtime, so you have to make sure you pass a key for this data page, right? So where we need to call this states list properties, so we already invoked in the section. So when the property, so we are referring the property, right? So when this property invoke, So this will in turn refer this data page, and this will expect the key, and based on that, this will filter, right? Let's say we have 10 countries, but based on the country, it will take the states, and those states will be assigned to this page list property. Okay, so that means copy whatever the data we have in the data page will be copied to this page list property. Okay, so now so we have referred here. So we refer the page list property, right? So state list and state code. Okay, so now if you go here, so let's run this flow. So by default, you will get all the states, right? So because it will be loaded. So if you go to the clipboard, so you see all the states here. So let's go to the data page, d underscore state list, all the results. So all these results will be copied to the states list as well, because we are copying the data from data page to this page list. Okay. So now if you select India, it is giving. So we need to put the refresh condition here for the country. Okay. So this is very important. So if you don't refresh it, so what will happen, right? So if you refresh it, that page property, will copy the data from the latest data page. Whatever the data we have in the database, that will be copied. Okay. No. So when we refresh it, the page property, like list property, gets called, and that will in turn call the data page. And since we have a key, right? So because we are selecting the country, that key will be passed to the data page, and that will filter and will copy to the page list property. Okay. So now if you go to the clipboard, so now how many results you will see in the data page? Hmm? In the data page, you will still see, no, it has to be this work object, right? So data page is already loaded, so it will not be loaded again and again. Okay. So in the data page, you will still see 4 records only. Okay. All the states. But if you go to the states list property, here you will see only the records based on the code. Okay. So that means internally what will happen, right? So this data page, we are passing the country code as a key. Okay. So it will filter based on this IN, and only those corresponding records will be copied to the states list. So here, so this will not go to the database again and again to retrieve the data. Only it retrieves the once, and it will be, it will be used to filter. So, but if you have any refresh strategy for the d underscore states list, let's say I want to refresh for every 1 hour, then that will be refreshed from the database. So now if we add one more state, it will not be, loaded here. Okay, let's say assume that this is a node level data page. Okay, and the node level data page gets refreshed for every 24 hours or every time when you restart the server. So in this case, we have to make the data page as a known level data page. Okay, only one time it will be loaded in a day, and it will not be reloaded even if the data is added in the source. Okay, but so because like so mainly so we go for this key data page. Uh, like if you are not always referring the latest data, so there can be some records added, but since we already loaded, so we need that data only. Okay, so this will reduce the number of hits, right? So if we take the same scenario, so states will not be added very frequently, right? Okay, so that is fine, right? Like so you can let's say if you want to add few let's say data is loaded today at 10 o'clock and you add it later in the day few more records. Okay, but those will be retrieved next day when you refer the data page. Okay, clear? So now if we select United States, it will give you only those related records. So if you go to the clipboard, in the data page, you will still see 4 records, but in the states list, page list property, you will see only these 2 records. Clear? So this is how we used, the key data page to reduce the database hits. And also, there is one more purpose. So we can use the data page uh, as a list and also page database. One database can serve 2 purposes. Okay, so instead having 2 different data pages, let's say I want to display the list of values, and also I want to use as a single page, meaning I want to display all the countries in the country drop down. So what type of data page we need? Hmm? I want to display all the countries in the country drop down. So what type of data page? Meaning page structured data page or list structured data page? Obviously,
List.
right? So we use the list data page.
Yes.
But when I select the country, I want to retrieve only that country related information. In that case, which data page we need? If I select the country India, I need to display that India related information. Meaning, let's say the language and population that is related to only that country. Single data page, right? Because you are fetching only single data. One country is equal to one page, right? So you are selecting the country India. You will be retrieving only that India related information, not India related states. If you want that, so we already did that, right? Like, so we need a list database again because we have multiple states. But here, only the information of the country, not the related states. So in that case, we need a page database again. So having the key data pages, so we can use the database as a list data page to display all the countries and also as a page data page. So whenever you select the country, it will populate the corresponding language and the population. Okay. So in that case, how do we achieve this? The same like this one only, but we should not allow multiple pages per key because only we need one page. Obviously, one country will have one unique country, right? Meaning like so, uh, when you pass the country India, so you will get only one record, not multiple records. Here, with this code, we have the multiple pages. Clear? See why we enable this allow multiple pages per key, because with this country code India or US, so we have the multiple states. So now So this is another purpose. So let's go to the country data page. So this is the list data page, right? So so we need to apply this data page to the page property. Okay. Mm, use keyed option, right? Keyed page access for country data page. Okay. So let's go to the country list data page because keyed page access is available only for list data page. Clear? So check out and access pages with user defined keys and only one page with the key, and here key will be the country code. Okay, country code. So this is very advanced options actually. So uh, even if you are not understanding fully, that is fine. Like, so when you start working on the, when you start practicing, so you will understand. Hmm? Which one? No, this is not required, right? Say, like, this is the different scenario. If you don't pass any key, it will retrieve all the records. Okay. If we pass the key, then it will retrieve only the related information, right? So that means this list database is being used as a list as well as the page. Instead of having two different pages, we can achieve with the single page, single data page. Okay. So now, so this will not impact on this country, right? Like, so we already use the list database as a drop down, to the country drop down. So it will give you all the countries. Now, if I select India, I need to show the population and the language they speak. Okay. So for that, what we need to do? So we need to add some data, right? Add additional properties in the country class. Those are language they speak and the population. Okay. So let's go to the country. So here we need to add, right? So add property called language. So once we create a property, ID cannot be changed. So I'm just removing it. Then population. So population, let's say it is an integer, and we need to enter the data, right? So go to the records. So when you add the properties later, maybe if you are using the 8.6, so those gets displayed automatically, but here we need to include manually. So go to the edit columns language, and the population. Okay, so let's enter some data for these columns. Why language? Let's add away. Okay, so this is not the one which we created, right? Okay, so let's enter some population for Australia. So because we don't have any, yeah, so any states for Australia, but like let's say whenever you select the country, so you need to display this population and language. Just I'm entering some value. Okay, so let's double click on this to edit it. So primary key cannot be edited. I'm entering some population and let's say national language, right? So this can be changed to the decimal. So if you have more values, okay. So or let's put like this. And let's say this is English. So the moment we select the country, we need to populate the corresponding language and population. So let's add one more layer to include those two properties. Okay. So make it inline grid double. So you can take the control first. Either you can drag it so that you know already. Okay. So you can copy paste also. Copy the control and paste it. So and select the property. So these properties are part of the data, this class, right? Country data class. Okay. So, so if you are using the keyed page, so you need to refer that in the page property or list property, right? So since we are using this as a page, so for list purpose, like so we are already this one is being used in the country drop down, and if you want single record, so you have to create a page property. Okay, so go to the work class and create a page property called country details in the work class. Okay, the next step is add additional properties in the country class and specify some data. Then create a page property called country details and specify the uh, data page. So the page which has the key, right? So this would be a page property, and the whenever we are creating a page or list, so we need to specify the class. So since this page is referring the properties from country class, so that has to be specified. Okay, so we can relate it to the PY work page. So PY work page is getting created by referring to the work class in the runtime. So that is the reason. So we are able to call all the properties from that work class through page reference. So py work page dot first name, py work page dot last name, like that. So similarly, from the country class, we can refer through this country details page. So country details page dot country code, country name, population, language, etc. Okay. So here we need to select either refer to data page or copy data from a data page. So copy data from a data page is like if you want to store the uh, page to the database, we need to select copy data from a database, and refer to a data page means the data will not be stored into the database, just like it will refer the database. Okay, so that is up to you. Like, so if you want to store the data, right? So as part of the case, so we can select this one. But like from user perspective, it is same. So let's say I want to save that data as well. Let's say I'm selecting this option. So if you select this option also will work. So what is the data page? See, uh, s- if you create a single page, right? So by default, the list data page will not be available. Okay. So only the page and the savable data page are showing. So you have to enter manually. And if doesn't have the key defined, it will not allow. Okay, so let's say country list and country code. So what we need to pass here? Country, right? So whatever the country we select, so in the back end we'll have a code, so that code will be passed to this d underscore country list. And when the code, for example in passed to this data page, this data page will retrieve only that corresponding information. But we need to populate those two properties, right? Language and population. So we need to include those two fields here. So save as. Let me take this screenshot. So this is the single page, okay? And it will not be available in the drop down. You have to specify explicit. So then save as the report definition, country details report definition, and include the additional properties. Okay. So now let's save this. Before modifying this report definition also can be saved. Okay, so just create a page property, refer the data page and pass the key. So if you don't pass the key, it will give you all the records, right? And if you pass the key, so it will give us the corresponding record. So single database is serving both the purposes, right? So it is displaying all the countries in the drop down as well as the corresponding information. Okay, see all the countries. I'm going to select. Okay, so but before that, so we need to call these properties, right? So how do we specify it? So it says country details dot language. So country details dot, so page dot property. Okay. So we created a page property in the work class by referring to the country. If you want to use the properties from the country page, like country class, so you need to refer through this page. See why we are using this one is, so the data page is referred in the country details page property. So when the data page executes, so that will copy the data based on the key, that will load the data and that will copy to the country details. So on the country details page, you will see population and language. So that is the reason. So we need to specify that. In the clipboard, we'll have the population and language on the country details page. So you have to refer country details dot language, country details dot population. So that country details will be part of PV work page. Okay. So now let's execute a case, create all the countries, and I'm going to select, let's say, India. See, and if you select United States, Australia, so if you pass a single, like now, if you want to retrieve single record information, basically you need a page structure data page. For displaying the list of records, we need a list data page. But here we are using only the list data page for both the purposes. Okay, if you don't pass, so by the times, so after selecting the country, then only the page populated, right? Because key will be passed. So by default, say when you launch it, right? So that means the data page will be loaded without having any key, because country code will not be there on the clipboard, right? So by this time, okay. So it will load all the data. Then we are selecting the country. That means you are passing the key to the data page. Okay. So based on that key, it will copy the data to the country details page. Okay. So now go to the clipboard. The same data page, right? Like so, yeah, it is thread, right? So go to the D underscore this one, country. Maybe it is requester, right? Let's open. This is the requester data page. So you will see here D underscore country list. You see all the countries. Okay. Yeah. So now based on the key, it will be copied to the country details page. You will see only one record information at any point of time. Clear online, guys? So this is very advanced concept. You may not use in the real-time applications. Okay, it is not necessary that you have to follow. So we can let's say you can use both page and list data page whenever it is required. But so if you think from the performance perspective, and also yeah, if we create more rules, obviously it takes the more memory, right? So yeah, if you keep other things in the mind, so then we can build like this. Okay. Yeah, so for interviews, yeah, they are asking it. Okay, if you explain the same scenarios, that would be fine. So even The people who are working in the real time, project for 3 4 years, they are not aware of this key database. Okay. So for example, if you go for interviews and if you are able to explain this concept properly, so that means they will think that you worked in the real time applications. Okay. Yeah, so for normal questions, like everybody can answer, right? Like, so what is an activity, what is the method, and how it works? So everybody can answer it. So if you are able to answer for these kind of questions, then they will, you know, consider your profile. Okay. So now let's summarize in 2 minutes. So advantages, right? Like, so we can reduce the number of interactions, number of hits uh, on the database having the key page access. Okay. Example, we can load all the states at once and later we can filter based on the country. Okay. So for the single country, we can have one or more states. That's the reason we have selected allow multiple pages per key. Okay. So then one data page serves as a page and list also. Okay. For example, use the use the data page, list data page to display all the countries. Then same data page can be used in the page property, and based on the key, the data will be copied to the page, and those page properties can be used on the UI or wherever you want. Okay, either for displaying purpose or for like for further process. Okay.